Hey everybody, it's GoblinX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be playing another premiere draft of Wilds of Eldraine, the newest set on Arena. Tons of cool stuff going on in the format. We've of course got the Enchanting Tales reprints, we've got the brand new roll tokens, we've got plenty of other mechanics like these little 1/1 rats that can't block, the celebration mechanic that wants 2 permanents to enter your battlefield in 1 turn, and plenty more. Without further ado, let's take our pick 1 pack 1 here, which is easily going to be Redcap Gutter Dweller. This card is a 4 mana 3/3 menace that creates 2 1/1s that can't block when it enters the battlefield, and that is the absolute worst case scenario, and that's already pretty good. After that, at the beginning of your upkeep, you can sacrifice a creature to put a +1/+1 counter on it and exile the top card of your library, allowing you to play that card this turn. So an impulsive draw spell that's going to let you just keep drawing every time you sack one of these little rats that you're producing. So absolutely incredible card, and we're very happy to take that pack 1 pick 1, and this is going to work really, really well in any deck that can produce a bunch of expendable creature tokens. In particular, in this set, that is going to be by making a bunch of rat tokens, like we can do with cards like Lord Skitter's Butcher. This is a really good card for the black-red rat archetype, as Ratatouille over here can spit out a 1/1 black rat to sacrifice to our other cards, or it can sacrifice a rat to let us scry 2 and draw a card, or it can give our whole board menace to find that lethal. So really flexible, really powerful rat chef over here. We'll take Lord Skitter's Butcher. There's a really cool Enchanted Tales card though, Mana Flare. Very nice reprint for Commander. This is going to be a great set to draft and play Sealed of in paper, because the Enchanted Tales, a lot of them are just great cards to have in your collection for Commander and other formats like that. Pack 1 pick 3 now. We do have a Gnawing Crescendo, which is kind of a finish for the Black-Red Rats deck. It's a little narrow, though. I don't think I like taking it this early. There is a mechanic called Bargain in this format that allows you to sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token when you cast the spell to get some kind of bonus. And that mechanic makes cards like Hopeless Nightmare actually really, really nice. This just immediately hits the board, makes your opponent discard a card, makes them lose 2 life, and then you have just really good bargain fodder later, where you've already gotten the impact out of this card, so you don't have to spend anything else to bargain it away, and when you do, you get to scry 2 as well. So I actually like Hopeless Nightmare a lot, and we could take that here. Warehouse Tabby's also okay. We could try to splash in a Neva Stalked by Nightmares for a nice Gravedigger effect, some graveyard recursion, or we could just take the flyer that makes our opponent discard a card, the Spellscorn Coven. But I've been very impressed by Hopeless Nightmare, so I'm going to scoop that up there. Getting a little sketched out here. We're on pick 4, and there's not a lot of black or red cards here. I would really rather not get pushed off of our color pair with our Redcap Gutter Dweller being such a powerful rare, but at least we can make sure we're still on black by taking another great black card here with Stab Wound. This is decent cheap removal for just fully getting a small creature out of the way. What it's really good at doing if you're a pretty aggressive deck is like shutting off a good creature of your opponent's and having it just sit there and make them lose life every single turn until they end up like chump blocking with it. So that extra 2 life loss per turn can actually stack up pretty well, and I think Stab Wound is going to play pretty solid in the format. Pack 1 pick 5 now. I don't think there's any off-color cards that are particularly great, but there's nothing phenomenal on color. I think Rowan's Grim Search is probably the best. 3 mana, draw 2, lose 2, and if you get to bargain, which we can do by sacking a rat token or a Hopeless Nightmare, we can also look at the top 4 cards and rearrange them before we draw 2. We could dump all 4 into the graveyard if we really need something specific, so I think this card can dig really far at instant speed, which is nice, so I like the Grim Search. Not a huge fan of Beseech the Mirror in Limited. This is much better in Constructed, where there's like one specific card you really want to hit. The mana cost is also super restrictive at triple black, but I guess theoretically we could do that, sack a rat, and then cast a Redcap Gutter Dweller. So it's kind of cute for that, but I think I would rather just have the cheaper card draw, the instant speed card draw, than the sorcery there. And pick 6 makes me very happy, because I was really worried about how open red was, but now we see Edgewall Pack and Torch the Tower, both of which are going to be premium cards for this black-red rat archetype. So that's going to help us a lot. Even the Grand Ballguest can be solid here, because it's going to get Celebration pretty consistently when we're making so many rat tokens. At this point, our only removal is Stab Wound, which isn't great. I'm going to take the Torch the Tower for just a really efficient little burn spell and go from there. Pick 7. I'm not going to play a Barrow Naughty unless I am a dedicated fairy deck, so not that interested in it. It does wear the roll tokens pretty well if you put an aura on it, giving it +1/+1. That can be solid, but I'd rather just take the best off-color card, which I think is cooped up for great removal. And more great removal here. We could just take a Grasp of Fate. 3 mana, exile a non-land permanent and opponent controls till it leaves the battlefield. It's pretty good. It's an Oblivion Ring. We're only 2 cards deep into red. Maybe we end up pushing towards black-white. See it here. Wicked Visitor, solid addition to just the black-red deck. It would be fine. I don't think we're going to have a ton of roll tokens or any other enchantments in black-red, but this is an enchantment-heavy format, so maybe I'm wrong on that. Still going to speculate towards the white here. Twisted Fealty. Gain control of a creature, untap it, give it haste, put a Wicked roll on a creature. So if you're super aggro, that's fine. Knight of Doves. When an enchantment you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, create a 1/1 flyer. So every time something with a roll token on it dies, whenever you sack your Hopeless Nightmare, Knight of Doves could be pretty good for black-white. Gonna keep that option open. There aren't a lot of ways to sacrifice non-artifact enchantment token cards in this set. So I feel like the active treason effects, like the steal an opposing creature for a turn effects, are just a little weaker. Take the Rhyme for Reindeer. 4 mana 3/4's a little under curve, but you can tap a lot of creatures with that as you're just making roll tokens, and that's a pick 11 cooped up. Makes me feel like we're supposed to be in white for sure, so maybe black-white over red-white, although I do think Mary Bards is super serviceable. The Young Hero roll is very, very good against, or on a cheap creature like a rat token or something, because it's going to keep getting bigger till it has 4 or more toughness, but I do really like cooped up, so I think white is the most open color in this draft pod, so kind of have to be in that direction, and it kind of pays off for us because we open up a Restless Fortress. All of these dual lands that turn into creatures later in the game are pretty great. This is actually one of the weaker ones, but I think they're all really good deals. So they're going to be fixing between your 2 primary colors, and then later in the game, you run out of things to do, you just start activating this, and this one's just going to keep draining your opponent every turn. Or it's just a big 1/4 blocker. Yeah, this is probably my least favorite of them. I would much rather have like higher power ones that can trade off into something on board, but I think it's still good enough to take here over the Woodland Acolyte or the Ashiok's Reaper, which can both, well, especially Reaper. This can do gross stuff if you play a ton of roll tokens and enchantments in general. The Acolyte's just like a good straight-up value play. I'm going to take the Fortress, though. Let's get some great fixing, make sure our mana really works out for us. Pack 2, pick 2. No great black or white cards. The Griffinary is great with a lot of food tokens, so it's like a green-white kind of thing. I guess there is some food production in black, but not a lot. Like, we have none of it right now. We haven't found any, so not loving the Griffinary. Moment of Valor is fine for its flexibility, a combat trick when you need it, or a big removal spell later. Virtue of Knowledge, that's like a constructed card, all this blue stuff in general is. I think this pack is pretty weak outside of like Stormkeld Vanguard, and I'm not going to splash that in or pivot onto green, so I'll just take Moment of Valor, I guess. Alright, pack 2, pick 3. Again, no good black or white here. There's Unassuming Sage, which kind of fits into the curve wherever you need it. 2 mana or 4, so that's kind of cute. Obira for blue-black fairies. Impact Tremors for red-black rats. Cut in for red-black rats. Well, I mean, I'm not getting any good white now. Maybe I keep the red option open. I think it's too late to, like, jump on a green-white Hamlet Glutton nonsense or something here. So I think cut in is the most consistently good. Blow up a creature and get a young hero roll is really, really, really good. Impact Tremors, great in your opening hand. Really bad draw late in the game, though. Cut in is just good at any point. So I'm going to take the cut in. Pack 2, pick 4. Again, no white cards. Maybe we're back on black-red rats. I think we want to take black primarily. That is going to kind of hedge the gap between our white and our red, give us something we're definitely going to play. So we'll take the Shatter the Oath here. Bit expensive, 5 mana sorcery speed removal, but it's great value because you're also getting a Wicked roll. Plus, for some reason, the black spell can destroy enchantments now. There's also that for flexibility, so... Ooh, Imadane's Recruiters. Really nuts. 3 mana 2/2 that gives your whole board +1/+0. That includes itself, and haste till end of turn is already just good for a Rats deck. And if you're splashing any amount of white, which we could do off our Restless Fortress, we might just randomly have the white source to also play the Adventure before we cast the Recruiter, and it becomes really busted. I really like Recruiter to the point where I'm going to take it over Torch the Tower here. But again, we're seeing excellent red now, but not good white, which means we're probably in that awkward position to be in where we can draft red when these players are passing to us, and we can draft white when these players are passing to us. So, not the greatest. This is a very easy Voracious Vermin, great card for black-red rats. It's a rat itself, and it's going to keep getting bigger as all your little rat tokens are dying. Big fan of Voracious Vermin. We're still getting reasonable red cards. Feel like the red cap Gutter Dweller's worth it, even if white's going to be more open in the last pack. I'm going to take the Bellowing Bruiser as a big finisher. Shut off all the blockers and play a big haster. We really want to get some creatures on curve, though, actually looking at it. We have 0 2-mana creatures right now. Never mind, I guess I have to take Borderlands Ranger. Or Boundary Lands Ranger. I guess they didn't want to call it Borderlands Ranger because they already made a Borderland Ranger, and that would start getting pretty confusing. So we'll take another copy of Cut In for another great removal spell. Very happy to take that. Yep, just need to work on our curve now, mainly. Get some 1/2 mana creatures. Mainly just get a lot of creatures, period. Is what we need to do here for black-red. Alright, Daredevil works. It's a creature. It's not a great one, but we're pretty committed to our black-red color pair now. Guess I even take a Barrow Naughty at this point to up that count. We're definitely going to play Restless Fortress. At worst, it's going to help splash in Recruiter. If we get any other fixing, it might also help put some Cooped Ups in or something off of white. I'm not going to try to splash in the double white Grasp of Fate or anything like that, though. Grab the white spells just in case red-black doesn't quite get there. We've got a lot of white cards to play a mediocre red-white or black-white deck instead. If we don't find the good black-red rats playables early in pack 3 before we get cut off. Well, we can play a Gnawing Crescendo. We can play like one copy of it as a finisher. Pretty narrow. You use it when you're already in a good position. You have a bunch of rats and you're just trying to crack in for lethal. But large impact in that position. Alright, pack 3, pick 1. Let's get something great for black-red, shall we? Well, we kinda didn't, but the Sellsword is fine. We can sacrifice a rat to shoot anything for 1 and then play this as a 3/3 for 2. So that can be fine. Nothing else looks great here. Flick a Coin is fine. Sweet Tooth Witch is fine. A bunch of fine stuff. We'll take the 2/2. On curve, that could play even better with some sack fodder. Now... pack's pretty empty. I guess we could use another finisher like a Scream Puff. I also like the Spellcorn Coven for discard. Let's take the big Scream Puff finisher, I guess. Big 5-drop to close out the game. This card's been much more impressive than it looks for me throughout this format so far. 5 mana 4/5 Death Touch is just always going to trade into the biggest creature on board, and On attacks where your opponent has to get defensive, it is very, very often going to kill 2 of their cards minimum. And if you are in a position where it keeps hitting your opponent, it's practically a lifelinker as well, because you just keep getting a food token that gains 3 of the 4 damage you dealt. So that's pretty great. Easy edge wall pack here. More rat tokens, more creatures on curve. Grab that. I don't think aggravated assault is actually that good, but there is an infinite combo you can theoretically draft that involves 2 rares from the Enchanted Tales. This and another rare that makes it so anytime you damage your opponent, you untap all your lands, and you just have infinite combat steps and they die, even if you're just hitting them with 1 Ginger Brute. So that's really fun, but it's a red-green combo, so we can't do that. So we probably take the Harried Spear Guard here for more creatures into the deck. But Hopeless Nightmare is also a good card. I just think we need creatures. Now a Merry Bard's another good 4-drop creature to play. Again, there's a solid removal spell here, but I think I'm still filling out our creatures. We're at 11 creatures, and we're trying to be pretty aggressive. We need some more. Let's take a Merry Bard's as ideally a 4-drop. Alright, I think Fell Horseman is weak enough to take one of these other spells that would be great in the archetype. Vampiric Rites can turn all of our rats into card draw, and Witchstalker Frenzy is just a really efficient removal spell. Both of these I think are pretty great for this archetype. I want to go Witchstalker Frenzy. I just really, really like 1 red mana instant deal 5 to a creature, and it's going to be that relatively frequently. Sorry, Vampiric Rites, rat sacking combo. That would also be good, but I'm just going to have the best removal ever to support whatever dorky creatures we have on curve, and that is going to be our game plan. Alright. I mean, we're aggressive enough we can slam a Ginger Brute in here. Not going to be super exciting, but our colors aren't super, super open, so we kind of have to just grab what we can, like a Ginger Brute. Ginger Brute's really, really gross if you can put a young hero roll onto it, where it keeps buffing itself up when you attack until it turns into a 4/4. So we do have some synergy with it. It's not like completely random in here. Very happy to take a Minstrosity, 2 mana 3/1 all day long for this deck. So how many ways do we have to make a young hero roll? We've got 3, I think. We have Merry Bards and 2 cut-in. Yeah, if we get one of those onto Ginger Brute, that's going to be gross. Practically an unblockable creature that's going to go all the way up to 4/4 stats. I'm loving it. I am loving that. We get the Sweet Tooth Witch back, which I think is reasonable for this deck. We don't care too much about the food token, but we can sacrifice the food to make our opponent lose some life. Get some extra damage in there. Yeah, all we really had going for us in white was just a bunch of removal. I think we ended up in a solid position here being in black-red. So we actually have the bomb here and a bunch of removal still. So it feels like we're getting everything we were gonna be getting in white and like a little more, thanks to the bomby stuff. I think this draft ended up solid. Not perfect, but one of the better decks we could have ended up in this draft pod. Battle Garb is not unplayable, but I don't think I want it in here. The Battle Garb is going to auto-equip to creatures when you have 2 non-land permanents at the board, and it gives +2/+0. So putting it onto rats makes it so they're 3/1s, your opponent has to block with at least a 4 toughness creature to not have to trade something down into a rat token, so that's where it could be okay, but I'm not super confident on here. We also don't have tons of space for non-creature spells because we have so many great non-creature removal spells in the deck. So we've got 41 cards here. We have some good, not a lot, but we have some amount of card draw between Rowan's Grim Search and the Gutter Dweller. The Lord Skitter's Butcher as well could be card draw. Am I good to cut a land here? Our curve's kinda high for black-red. I guess I'm only going to run one white source, so I probably shouldn't treat this as a 5-drop train troops kind of card. I should just treat it as the 3-mana Imidane's Recruiter, generally speaking. Merry Bards I'm going to treat as a 4-mana card on curve. Really not into the Barrow Naughty, but is what it is. When you need creatures, you need creatures. 15 creatures here. Probably cutting a land or a spell. Probably want to cut the Gnawing Crescendo. I just don't think we got like a ton of rat production to have a super wide board state. Plus we're at 15 creatures, so we're on the lower end of creature counts for aggro decks. So just not getting the greatest wide positions with that card, unless we've already drawn like one of the better cards in our deck. Like if I've already drawn Edgewall Pack, Redcap Gutter, Vermin Butcher kind of stuff. I think we'll already be in a fine spot, so I'm just going to cut the Crescendo here. It might not even be worth running the Restless Fortress. We can just play this as a red card and just accept it for what it is. We don't have any treasure production. It's probably better to just have 100% untapped lands than it is to, once in a blue moon, get a couple 2/2s. So I actually think we're cutting Fortress for just a straight up swamp and calling it a deck there. All right, here we have a look at our completed deck list. We're going to be a pretty basic black-red aggro deck with a lot of great removal and one very sweet bomb. So solid curve of creatures, some hasty 1/1s that would be really good to put a young hero roll onto, and we have a few ways to do that higher up on the curve. Our 2-drops are a little bit lacking, especially the Barrow Naughty just doesn't fit very well in this deck, but we had to do with what we could pick up. But at 3 mana and up is where we start getting a few really exciting cards like Lord Skitter's Butcher, getting us a wide board state, same with the Voracious Vermin, and the Imidane's Recruiter can really profit off of a wide board state by giving everybody +1/+0, finding a bunch of extra damage there. 4 mana is where we get to our bombs, like Redcap Gutter Dweller being the one big bomb in the deck, a huge card draw engine that's also just a big menace creature that keeps getting bigger. We've also got more ways to make a wide board state with Edgewall Pack, and that's where we start getting to our young hero rolls with Merry Bards and a couple cut-in. So with that young hero roll, we're going to be putting this onto, ideally, our Gingerbrute. That's when it would be incredible, because we put it on a Gingerbrute, we can keep spending the 1 mana to make it really hard to block Gingerbrute, and keep getting that in as kind of like an unblockable creature that goes all the way up to 4/4 stats. So young Gingerbrute would be incredible, but also young hero Harried Spearguard, or any of our small creatures. So really liking the cut-ins and the Merry Bards for that. We've also got the great removal spells, of course the 2 copies of cut-in, but also a Shatter the Oath, a Witchstalker Frenzy, a Stab Wound, and a Torch the Tower. Outside of all that, we've got a Rowan's Grim Search for some card draw, and a Hopeless Nightmare to work with our couple of bargain cards like Torch the Tower and the Grim Search. So solid stuff overall, nothing super incredible, but nice and consistent, and hopefully it plays out pretty well for us, but we'll find out soon enough as we head into the gameplay. Here we are on the play for game 1, certainly a slower hand, but with the best card in our deck in the hand, I think it's worth the keep. We do have to hit another mountain though, or we could be stuck off of the double red. Perfect draw. Get a 2-drop creature on curve, and now we can curve out 2 mana Boundary Lands Ranger, 3 mana Minecart Daredevil, and that's going to get our discard a card, draw a card triggering. Not if they immediately blow up my Boundary Lands Ranger, so super awkward for us, because this would have been an ideal turn to discard a swamp to draw a mountain, well, to try to draw a mountain. But now we can't do that because they had the casket for the Ranger. So very sad way to start the game. Our Minecart Daredevil still great with a cut-in. Oh, Princess Takes Flight is one of the most disgusting removal spells in the set, because you can turn this into all upside. For 3 mana, exile a creature, then +2/+2 flying to one of your cards. Then you just make sure to bargain the Princess Takes Flight away, sacrifice it, or alternatively, put it back in your hand with the 3 mana 3/2 that picks up a non-land permanent. So things are working out real poorly for us. Our opponent has had the efficient removal to just deal with everything we've played so far. And now they've got a fantastic mana sink that will easily win them the game over time. Getting some 1/1 lifelinkers and drawing a bunch of extra cards on every life gain trigger they're getting off of those. So we don't hit the second red, which is pretty awkward. The Gutter Dweller would be fantastic here. But Scream Puff still looking good on the empty board, and they don't have a way to sacrifice the Princess Takes Flight. So we get the Minecart Daredevil back. That is very surprising. Don't expect that to happen too often later in the format. But I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, that immediately makes me feel much better about our position. That it was just a temporary pause on the Minecart Daredevil rather than the permanent removal that it could be. They're just going to hold all their mana up here. Well, there's no Settle the Wreckage. I don't really have any options here. I just have a bunch of removal, so we're just going to send in the team. So they'll tap the Scream Puff, scry one, and draw a card. We're still definitely hurting for that second mountain. But at least if they jam out a good creature, I have the instant speed removal now to just Witch Stalker Frenzy during their end step. So if I top deck the mountain, I can play the Gutter Dweller next turn. If it's a small enough creature to die to a cut-in, it might still be better to just wait, because the odds of drawing exactly a mountain off the top aren't incredibly high here. More likely than any other draws, but if we don't draw the mountain, then playing a cut-in instead of a Witch Stalker Frenzy would be a much better way to kill whatever they play here. That way we get to keep buffing our board even if we don't get to cast a creature. But if they're playing a 0-creature deck, I guess our removal spells are just dead cards. And we're chilling. So let's attack and hit for 5. They can use Dawn of Hope now, I guess. Trade into the Spear Guard or Chump Block, which is fine. No shot do I use a removal spell on this 1/1 token, right? You know, they probably just trade into Spear Guard, and that's cool with us. The Chump is also fine if they're not drawing the card yet, which they aren't, so I'll allow that. And then we play the Hopeless Nightmare, make them discard a card, because we don't have anything else to do. And we've got the Witch Stalker Frenzy for instant speed removal if we need it. Play a Hopeful Vigil, get a 2/2. Alright. They're just going to hold up the Dawn of Hope mana, get a 1/1? No, they're going to diminish your Witch. Sacrificing the Hopeful Vigil, which is a really good deal, so that's just going to turn my Daredevil into a 1/1 now. And let them scry 2 without even losing a card. That is very good for our opponent. Great 2-for-1 here. At least they're tapped out of Dawn of Hope, so I can Witch Stalker Frenzy one of these now, and then cut in the other one. Oh wow, now I could marry Bards. I can marry Bards or cut in, I can't do both. I guess it doesn't really matter where I put the Young Hero roll if I do put it down. Let's cut in here. Let's get the roll onto the Spear Guard. And let's hit for 3. Even if they're out of cards here, they're in a position where they can make a 1/1 lifelinker, chump, and draw a card off of the Dawn of Hope. Just getting nasty. Oh, and they've got an Ariat also, and cooped up still. Well, probably gets us. What is this symbol? Can't attack. Why can't this attack? Each creature that's enchanted by an aura you control can't attack also? Well, that makes me feel pretty bad for not holding on to the removal, but well, they're out of removal as well, so Redcap Gutter Dweller can do some work for me. I can at least attack with the Spear Guard and bounce off to buff this up to 3/3 stats, get it into a good attack next turn. Okay. could sack Hopeless Nightmare during my upkeep. I'm going to put a stop there so that I have the option. But I do think I'm going to be wanting to play a 4-mana Merry Bards. I think we're still winning here, but Ariet is not good for me. With the Dawn of Hope to sit behind as well, they're going to be drawing a lot of extra cards and getting a lot of chumps in here, so they can turn this around. Sack another creature. If I do put a counter on it, exile the top card. We obviously sack the Scream Puff because they can just exile it anyway. Find a cut-in off the top. Wow. What a draw. Well, I think the play is pretty obvious to our opponent as well. We cut in and then make the Daredevil a young hero. I'm going to put young hero onto a rat just in case they have a way to protect Ariet. Because if they protected Ariet there and then I put young hero onto the Daredevil, it would have their cursed and my young hero and it still couldn't attack because Ariet would still be on board. Okay. I'm 1 mana off from getting the young hero roll from this Merry Bards, so I think I want to hold off on that. So they can trade into the Daredevil here and take everything else. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's going to be 8 damage because they're going to gain 1, but that's cool with me. Oh, I forgot about the young hero triggers. Yeah, they're just going to concede because I think that's... It's not literally lethal, but it's close because that puts them to a position where I think they have to just trump Spear Guard. Stop the 4 damage there, and then take 5, 6, 7, 8. Gain 1. They take 7 total, go to 5. Alright, well. Finding the mountain for the Gutter Dweller was huge, and then the Gutter Dweller found us the cut-in for the Ariet, so... Things were almost real bad there once Ariet hit, but found some solid draws to get us back in the game after that. And we are 1-0 heading into Game 2. Here we are for Game 2. A lack of red sources again. Let me double check my mana base. Yeah, we're running 9 mountains and 8 swamps, so it's just RNG, it happens. We're on the play. We have to top deck a land or we're doing nothing. 45% of our deck is lands right now. 9 of which are mountains. We hit a mountain, the hand is pretty good. It's not even curving out super duper aggressively unless I hit perfect lands and go 3-drop into 4-drop. Yeah, 2-lander, a mono-colored 2-lander with no 2-mana cards in hand. We'll take the mulligan. This one we can keep, and we can use the Grim Search to make up for the mulligan in terms of card advantage. Get rid of the late game Scream Puff and just start curving out. Best as we can. Alright, no true drop off the top, so no perfect curve. But we can still slam in for 5 damage next turn, potentially. Yeah, they play an Ash, hit us with that. We'll hit them for 5, thanks to Recruiter. Then I'll have a Daredevil with the combat trick, potentially, too. Which is pretty cool. They're down to 13. A lot of damage quick. There's an Embereth Veteran and a Frostbridge Guard, so they've got blockers, and they trigger the Celebration for Ash to buffer up to 3 power. There's a Torch the Tower. We haven't drawn into anything to bargain away, though. I do have the mana to Torch the Tower and Grim Search. I don't have the mana to Torch the Tower and Daredevil. Daredevil's +2/+1 if I use it as a combat trick, but if I use it as a combat trick, I'm not doing anything else this turn. I feel like torching the Veteran or the Frostbridge Guard is pretty fine here. Yeah, let's like torch the Guard, send in the team, draw 2. Oops. We're not bargaining. I don't have anything I can sack to bargain. So we don't have artifacts or enchantments or tokens. Grim Search is gonna definitely help our opponent win the race a bit here, which could be bad for us. Yeah, maybe we had to hold off here. We'll see. Not that we have good blocks, though, because if they play 2 permanents, Ash is a 4/4 attacking in. And even if they don't, they could sack Veteran to put the Young Hero roll onto Ash, and then we also have bad blocks. Now they've got a 3/3 lifelinker if they trigger Celebration, which is really going to win the race. Sellsword, can that deal damage to a player? Any other target. Interesting. If I don't just die, then we could find lethal out of nowhere with that thud kind of trick. So we could go Butcher for Menace to hit them down to 7. And have the +2/+1 trick, so we could hit them down to 5. Wouldn't be good enough. What else can I do with this? Get a rat or sack a creature, scry 2, draw 1. This feels pretty. If they trigger Celebration, I think there's like no chance of victory here. Maybe. I don't need the Menace here, because I have the combat trick. If they block, I just use the combat trick. So maybe we just get the rats. Send in the team. Probably have to hold back more than that. I guess I'll hold back the Spear Guard. Send in the team. Is the combat trick any good on blocks? Honestly, it ain't great. Probably make the most of my mana, get the extra damage in now. Unless I top deck a mountain to where I can like buff and sack in one turn, I think it's better to just use this now. Next turn I can play Daredevil and Sellsword if it matters. Or I have all my mana up to casting like a 5-drop that I draw into. Let's cash in the extra damage and hope they don't trigger Celebration, but it is very, very likely they do. And then we just lose to lifelink. Yep, there we go. Still panned out to be somewhat close. So maybe a 7-card opener with slightly more aggro could get there. Any chance of victory? They're at 9 now. Probably not, but if there is, then it involves just taking this and finding lethal immediately. Otherwise, I do this and I go to 5, taking at least 2 in the sky guaranteed. 3 if they put the Young Hero roll onto the guide. They almost definitely trigger Celebration again next turn for more lifelink, because again, even if they play 1 permanent, they can also make a Young Hero. And they gain 4. I mean, if I block here, I still have just as many attackers, though, so I guess I might as well. And we don't draw the red source, so we can't play Daredevil and sack it. Be one way to get there, maybe. Extra 4 damage out of nowhere if they block incorrectly. They're taking 2 guaranteed, going to 7 maximum. I need a lot of blockers. They've got a Menace Dork, a Flyer, and like a 4/4. I mean, we're going to play 2 more blockers, so... 2 blockers total. It's not going to be enough, though, because I go block, block, Menace plus Flying kills me. If I leave all 4 blockers up, I'm theoretically not dead on board, but how on earth am I flipping the game around at that point? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even... There's no way to even, like, find random lethal out of nowhere, because we still don't have a second mountain. Just don't know what I'm even accomplishing by attacking, other than throwing away one of my creatures into their 3/3. Yeah, this is just really not good. Double block, chump, 5, that's dead. I have to play the Sellsword for no value. If I had 1 more power on one of these creatures, I could have thrown a creature at the Flyer and then played the Sellsword, but... Or if I had another red source. But we don't have either of those things. Another flyer that also puts a roll onto the guide, so they gain 4 hit for 4. Send in the squad. Yeah, we're dead because of the buff, because of the roll. I can block everything but the guide and the rat and take exactsies. That'd be the most damage I can possibly stop, is doing this. That is the maximum damage to stop. We are dead on board. 1-1 heading into game 3. Have to top deck a swamp to play something turn 2. If I don't, I'm just on removal, but I've got 2 pretty cheap removal spells to slow our opponent down. Not getting any early aggro. We're stuck off of black and we need double black for one of these cards. Aye, aye, aye. Alright, we'll keep this one. Spear Guard into Ranger into Search. Yep. This looks pretty good. Ooh, now we can play Voracious Vermin turn 3 instead and just keep curving out. Just jam creatures out, and then I can bargain the rat away. Look at the top 4, put them back however I want, or in the graveyard. And then draw 2. Should be really good. We'll trade 2/2s here if they're up for it. It'll be a little while before I get a 4-power creature to get the discard draw going. And I could immediately get a counter on Vermin, which is solid. A trade it is, counter onto the Voracious Vermin. Gallant Pie Wielder. Send in a Vermin here holding up a Rowan's Grim Search for surprise goodbye Pie Wielder if they block. Well, that was pretty excellent for me. Bargain the rat away. I like these draws. Actually, they're not incredible. I like the Witchstalker Frenzy a lot. Sweet Tooth Witch is also not bad. Yeah, we'll draw these 2. Doesn't matter the order, because I'm going to draw both. Beautiful. And then pass the turn. So now I can Sweet Tooth Witch and still hold up Witchstalker Frenzy as long as somebody's attacking with 2 creatures. Which I will be doing. So if they play a good creature here, we just go, ooh, yeah. So I definitely do that. I attack in, Witchstalker Frenzy, instant speed, kill the Pie Wielder because there's 2 attacking creatures. And we have a Hopeless Nightmare for later. Now I do have to chump attack with a Spear Guard to get the Witchstalker Frenzy to kill the Pie Wielder. And play the Sweet Tooth Witch in the same turn, so maybe it's best to just Frenzy and not play the Witch. But chump attack with Spear Guard still buffs the Vermin. But Vermin does die to 1 removal spell. Have to have 2 attacking creatures to play this for only 2. Could also just only attack with Vermin. And then just play the Witch and pass. Play the Witch and the Nightmare and pass, and that's fine. Yeah, I could Witchstalker Frenzy and just win the combat hardcore if they try to double block. If they don't, I just hit for 4 and that's cool. I think this is the way to go. Got rid of a Stone Splitter Bolt. They probably have better removal for Voracious Vermin. Our big rat friend is not long for this world, I imagine. It's Ratcatcher Trainee for some rats to trigger Celebration on the Pie Wielder. Maybe they have like the +2/+2 lifelink trick that they're going to use to just heavily win this race. I think trade here is okay. Gets that blocker out of the way for a crackback. Let's see. If they have the +2/+2 lifelink trick, this Pie Wielder is just going all the way to town and we're losing. Okay, they've got the Witch Stalker Frenzy. That's not good either. But we're a relatively balanced position here, and I just drew my best card. Okay, I was going to say we have a relatively balanced position, because I can Frenzy their Pie Wielder, and then it's 2 rats versus 1 rat, but I'm at the higher life total. But then I top decked the Gutter Dweller, so I think I'm in the better position, but I do have to consider playing the Frenzy instead of the Gutter Dweller right now. I think I have to do that, because the young hero is on the Pie Wielder, so it's going to go... Oh, actually, it doesn't get any bigger. It's already got 4 toughness. Never mind. But if they top deck a creature, they play their 2/1 and another creature and hit me for 6 for the turn. 7/8 off the rats. That's actually still okay. Not deadly. Let's actually get the card draw going. Let's play the Gutter Dweller right now. If I had triple red, this would be a beautiful turn, because then I could... That's a pretty good draw when empty-handed. Well, so much for that. Brutal. Alright, well, that was obviously pretty absurd. Does happen. Can torch the tower, the duelist, and then it's 3 rats versus 2. We're at the higher life total with a food, but they have a 2/1 to play coming up. Probably shoot this right now in case they, oops, in case they top deck more burn or a combat trick to save it or something. Stop on my upkeep so I can scry if I want. Oh my god, they top decked a 4/2 also now? We're losing the top deck war. Certainly losing the top deck war. We gotta try to help that by scrying here. Which means we're definitely gonna have a 3-mana or more card on top of my deck. Nope. Well, glad to scry. The alternative is draw land and then scry. Alright. This is fine. If I attack with everybody, I lose a rats to hit them for 2. If I don't attack, I do nothing, because they don't block. I go to 3 now. What are my outs? Should I be hitting them here? Do I have any, like, direct burn that's a bunch of damage? Not really. I don't think I'm supposed to hit them here. Because if I draw into Imidane's Recruiter or something, buffing up all the rats could be the out. Alright. Block the Daredevil, take 4. Obviously, I'm dead to removal, but whether I attack or block, I've only got 1 blocker up, so we're definitely attacking. Here comes their scry. Both to the bottom. Land for turn. Pass turn? Does Stab Wound just get us there? They have one blocker up. They block the 3/2 and take 5. What a swingy game. Oh my god. So many incredible and terrible draws for each player that game. That is going to give me a heart attack. The top deck Gutter Dweller at that one point was phenomenal for us. And then the the top deck, where is it? It's Exiled? It is Exiled. The top deck Heartflame Duelist, when they were empty-handed, was disgusting against our rare that we dropped down. Then they top decked into the 4/2 right after that, so those were their two incredible draws. Our two incredible draws were the Gutter Dweller and then the Stab Wound to finish off the game in the end. Our terrible draws was the Scry 2 lands away, hit another land, and their terrible draws were their final couple here. They just missed twice in a row, so I think they also just had a Scry 2 lands away, hit another land to finish the game off. Oh, that was swingy stuff there. Very, very RNG dependent game overall, but we do find it in the end. We are 2-1 now, heading into game number 4. Here we are for game 4. Little bit awkward again, just a bunch of removal, not many creatures. But it's a keep. We've got both our colors, and the cards we have are pretty excellent. Wicked Visitor. With a curve this slow, I think I'm supposed to just torch this before it just stacks into at least 4 damage to me off of that one card. Did top deck the 2-drop creature. I could save it for a fling, but let's curve out here and get a 2/2 down. Three mana, our opponent does not play anything. So I guess I'll just attack with the Sellsword, holding up the combat trick if something really weird happens. But we're probably just casting our 4/2 now. Next turn we could play the Boundary Lands Ranger and start discarding and drawing over and over. Alright, our opponent has their Treasure Adventure with the Grabby Giant. And they're going to play the Grabby Giant. Drawn to a Ginger Brute. No way to completely clear the Giant out of here. Could offer the Daredevil trade and just get 4 damage in. Be pretty good. Yep, 4 damage, let's go. I like it. Now I could Stab Wound Giant, get another 2 damage in. But then Giant still trades into my stuff on blocks, which doesn't feel excellent. Could just be on Grim Search, draw 2. If I'm going to do that, I think I should do it right now, so that if I do hit another land, I can also play Ginger Brute this turn. Yeah, let's Grim Search. I could see a Stab Wound argument, but I think Grim Search is solid too, and we do hit the land, we get a Ginger Brute down. Now we pass. There's a Wicked Visitor, number 2. And they're just going to pass there. Got the 5th mana for Scream Puff if I just want to get big. Could Stab Wound the Visitor, so that Daredevil can trade into Giant or just get in. And I could also play Borderlands Ranger. Discarding the Baronati to draw a card. I'm just going to call this Borderlands Ranger because Boundary Lands, it's Borderlands. I think that's pretty good. Stab Wound Visitor, play the Ranger, discard the Baronati to draw a card because it's not great here, or really any time in our deck. And then we get a Daredevil attack in. Alright, go to combat. Discard the naughty, draw a card. Send in the Daredevil. Trade into the Giant. They can draw their card off their treasure if they want first. Yep. But we do trade into the Giant. Get that out of the way for everybody else. Now I play Scream Puff pre-combat to trigger Boundary Lands Ranger. Imidane just shoots me when they shoot my creatures. Alright, not horrible. Okay, let's Scream Puff to get the Ranger going, but I do like the Merry Bards with Ginger Brute. No attacks into the 4/4. Until next turn, I can definitely attack Scream Puff into it. Am I about to lose a Scream Puff and get shot for a bunch of damage? That wouldn't be good. The most fair and balanced trade possible. Our exact 2/2 for their exact 2/2. Sellsword for Sellsword. And they pass turn. We hit the Gutter Dweller. Good lord. That's a good card. That's probably the play here. Well, but I can Merry Bards the Ginger Brute. I'm just gonna save the Gutter Dweller for later. Because I think just making young Brute over here is gonna be quite good as well. And I've already kind of got a card draw engine with the Borderlands Ranger. Yeah, there we go. We've got a food engine with Scream Puff to make sure we're at tons of life. As long as I have the mana for them. Ooh, that's gonna be gross. So they kill the Ginger Brute and hit me for... Wait, what? Whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control that targets only a single creature deals damage to it, she deals damage to the opponent. That targeted my creature and their creature. Okay, so it technically had 2 targets, so it didn't work and didn't shoot me. Alright, well they can't block Scream Puff well. I can't kill them here. They could block Merry Bards and we deal 6. But it might be, especially if we play a Vermin, just worth attacking with everybody at this point. Yeah, let's just play Vermin and send everybody in and chump attack with one of them to get a bunch of extra damage. Buff the Vermin. No. Oh, the 5 to the Scream Puff since we attacked. Well, they had enough mana regardless, but yeah. Well, that makes things definitely worse. Luckily, they at least didn't kill the Boundary Lands Ranger, so I'll still have that as a card draw engine. Yeah, that was rough, though. The instant speed burn. But we've got Boundary Lands Ranger plus Vermin. Probably going to want to eat the food. Harried Spearguard. That's a haster that dies into a rat. Let's eat the food. I'll still have multiple rats for bargain if that becomes a thing. Go to combat, discard a card, draw a card, attack with Vermin. Find Lord Skitter's Butcher. Okay, I still send in with Vermin even though I can give it Menace next turn, because I can also give my many rats from Redcap Gutter Dweller Menace. Alright, so we kill the 1/1, they get their little rat. Now we drop the Gutter Dweller. We're just gonna butcher it up next turn. Grim Search. That digs 6 cards deep. They can keep 2 from the top 4, or they can mill all 4 and get the next 2. So that could really find them a win con if they have one left in their deck. Okay, they find the Candy Grapple for the red cap, Gutter Dweller. And a Fell Horseman to put something back in hand, so they pick the Spear Guard. They have 2 blockers. They can block my Ranger and my Vermin and take 3 and still be alive, but if we give the board Menace, then they are dead on board. So we do that. And send in the team. There's the concession. We are now 3-1, I believe, as we head into Game 5. Here we are on the play for Game 5 with a fantastic curve while on the play. I mean, our 2-drop isn't that good. It's going to be a 2-mana 2/2, but being able to go 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop on the play, still really aggressive, still really powerful. I'm certainly going to attack with Spear Guard before I cast the Sellsword, so if they do want to throw a burn spell at Spear Guard, maybe I get a +1/+1 counter on Sellsword, but they don't, so we'll just play a 2/2. And I guess the only 1-mana burn spell, they can have the Adventure on the blue card. There's an Otter that has a 1 red mana Adventure to deal 1 to something, but Torch the Tower exiles, so if they had that, it would not have let me play a 3-power Sellsword anyway. Alright, Tattered Ratter is the play now. And that is going to block off the Spear Guard. We just drop the Vermin and pass now. And then we're going to use the Minecart Daredevils, ride the rails to find a trade up into a Tattered Ratter. And then use our additional 2 mana to play the Barrow Naughty in the same turn. Cool. Let's trade up into the Tattered Ratter. Vermin gets bigger, we get another rat, and we play a Barrow Naughty. Playing against blue-red spells over here. So they could have had that 1 Otter with that 1 damage Adventure. Oh my god, are we just going to get catapulted out of it? If they have enough instants and sorceries, that could really get us. That was a great draw. Merry Bards now. I think I just put the counter on one of the rats, so one of these rats eventually becomes a 4/4. Because Vermin's already going to eventually become a 4 toughness creature. Or 4 power creature. As soon as just one other thing dies. And we just need to get as many creatures to 4 power as possible to get past the catapults. So yeah, let's Merry Bards. Young Hero onto a rat. I could put the Young Hero roll onto itself, because then it only needs 1 attack to be big enough to get past a catapult. But since the catapults don't have any power anyway, I can afford to attack with everybody and just get in with whatever gets in. But yeah, I mean, they're in a good position to just block our 2 biggest creatures every turn and keep pinging us for 2 minimum. And more if they play more spells. Redcap Gutter Dweller of their own. Alright, that's pretty gross. That card is exceptional, as we've seen. And now that we're on the other side of the table, we might just lose to it. We'll find out. Attack with all of our 3 power creatures now, because the 1/1 just dies to the Gutter Dweller. Yep. One of these creatures gets in or kills a Gutter Dweller, which is worth it. Even if the Vermin dies to Gutter Dweller, it's worth it to get rid of their card draw. The Barrow Naughty's a free attack. It's not going to block the Gutter Dweller, so get that damage in, since the catapults don't have reach. And then we'll just play a big old Scream Puff. Okay, so we do get 4 damage in because they don't want to lose the Gutter Dweller. They want to start sacking rats to draw cards. Here's a Scream Puff. I guess it theoretically would have been worth attacking with a 1/1 rat as well, because worst case scenario, they kill the rat with the Gutter Dweller, and then my Vermin is big enough to stop getting blocked. I probably should have done that, now that I think of it. Just a chump attack to get a counter on Voracious Vermin. There's a Rat Catcher trainee. That was the free draw from the Gutter Dweller. And they've got an instant or sorcery to cast here. Freeze in place. Lock down the Scream Puff. Untap the catapults. Does feel like we're getting catapulted out here. Wow, it's going to play really badly that I didn't chump attack with the rat last turn, because now Vermin trades down into Rat Catcher trainee, which is super bad. Plus, also, it could just get blocked and killed by the Red Cap Gutter Dweller. Yeah, that whole... We should have chump attacked last turn, then we'd at least have an attack with Vermin, but we still wouldn't have an attack with anybody else this turn. Just the Naughty and the Vermin, so we're still probably in a losing position, but we're in a better position. We should have chump attacked last turn. I think I definitely should this turn. No point in sending the bards in as well, because then they just kill the bards and catapult the 1/1. I guess I can't even chump attack this turn, because now they could just catapult the 1/1 regardless. It literally can't block, so might as well, I guess. We do attack with the 4/4 rat still, but not the Vermin anymore. Or the Merry Bards, I think. Because if we attack everybody, Bards dies for free. Free block there, take 4. This way, just Rat dies for free. Take 4. Yeah. Okay, they're going to do the catapult block. Take 5. Probably do want to play Edgewall Pack rather than dealing 1 more damage this turn. They're down to 7. Here's the Edgewall Pack. We've got some outs here. I don't think we're in a great position. The double catapult certainly looking to get us out of this, but if we get our +1/+0 to everybody, or we get our menace to everybody, I think we probably just kill them. Those are the biggest draws we could hit here. And we might have a wide enough board state now to just attack with everybody anyway. Right, they'll block the 4/4, the 3/2, and the 3/2. These 3 take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is not 7, but Sweet Tooth Witch could find lethal. They could have instant speed burn to ruin this. I think I just go for it, though. No matter what, it gets us out of this game. We kill them now or we die next turn. We'll see what happens. See what kind of tricks they have. But I'm... Without anything in their hand, we get them down to 1 and then we finish them with the Witch. I believe. We get them at least down to 2. Which is good enough. Five damage is enough. No spell. No burn. No burn one time, baby. We get a trade with the rat catcher. Okay, they're changing it all up. We'll have to wait till they do their final block. Okay, so we're trading into the rat. We're hitting for 5. I'm losing my 4/4. Everything else is going to stick around though, so this isn't even that disastrous if they don't die. Ooh. Pretty gross. This is my second time against this card in 2 games. Hopefully they don't have the white source. Actually, this might have been 2 games ago now. My short-term memory is horrible. Yeah, this card's really good. Any creatures with little removal spell adventures are disgusting. Okay, we might die on the crackback because we can't block the menace card and their catapults are going crazy now. Ooh, killing it pre-combat though means I kill a catapult here, which is nice. Or pre-damage. So we're killing a rat catcher trainee and a catapult now? I could still die to a gutter dweller, but we're hitting them for 2. Playing a sweet tooth witch and having a food up that I could eat defensively. Do they have another trick? 2 blue mana up. Okay, now they're just going to use the catapults now. Fair. Oh, they do. Oh, Beer's attendance. Untap the catapults. Save the other catapults. Oh my god. Well, we still got some damage in here and buffed the vermin, and this makes next attack super duper lethal if I don't just die. Maybe. Well, no, I guess I don't have enough creatures. Oh my god. On the plus side, that amount of tricks, even if I'm sitting here not attacking, I'm in a bad spot. They have instants or sorceries, we're just dead. But that goes the same if I just don't attack, because they just have enough instants and sorceries to have just used the catapults. Even if I did have a block for the gutter dweller. I mean, obviously the only play I can do is just eat the food and see how much burn they have. Let's see. So no attack, I'm at 5 more life, but they're also at much more life. Ooh, no instant or sorcery? Oh snap, they've got 3 blockers up? Whoa, wait a second. Block, 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 take 2? Oh. I couldn't even lethal them if I left the food behind. I think it was right to just eat the food immediately so that I couldn't catch myself in a position where they hit me for 5 there, and then I'm down to 2, and I try to sack a food when I'm at 2 life, right? Yeah, I had to eat the food right there. I couldn't have kept it behind. Or I'm at 2 right now instead of 5, and they just tap 2 catapults before the food ability resolves to gain the 3. Okay. Just making sure I didn't punt out of like the extra damage I need for a kill. How on earth do I not die now? I just don't. If they have any instant or sorcery, I die, period. So we have to make the best line for if they don't, which is probably attack with only the vermin and then attack with everybody next turn when Daredevil's also attacking. Because 3 blockers, block, 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 take 2, go to 3. Wait, no, I can buff the Barrow Naughty. Hold up. With 6 mana, I can double buff Barrow Naughty, so they have to go block, block, block. Barrow Naughty can hit them for still not lethal, because they're at 5. And then I just die on the crackback if I don't have a blocker for the flyer and blockers for the menace. Okay, yeah, all we can do is attack with Vermin then. I guess I could send the rat in too, since it can't block. It's gonna be a big moment of truth here. If they have another instant or sorcery, we're dead. If not, we probably win. Yep. Oh, you know the really gross part, too, is that they could tap the catapults before the Gutter Dweller's ability resolves, then sack one of them. Because then I'm at 1 life, and that gives them 2 draws to try to hit the instant or sorcery. Because they only need 1 catapult on board to finish me off. Well, I think we're dead. Oh, so close. All right. Did what I could mostly. I think I had to be going for that attack that I tried to do with the Sweet Tooth Witch. I don't think holding off there would have played any better for us. So close, though, overall. We are 3-2 now, heading into Game 6. Here we are on the play for Game 6 with a super sweet curve. Play our Spear Guard, play our Monstrosity, clear out one of their creatures, and then play the Edgewall pack. It's our plan, turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and turn 4. And I'm into it. Playing against a green deck. Green-blue is going to be the matchup. It's a very nice ramp deck. Using the Balluna's Gatekeeper to slow us down. Well, gives me something to do with my mana this turn at least. They've got their 3rd land now. The ramp spell would be pretty good for them here. Grab a land, make a 1/1. Dang, I wish I had something to sack to this Torch Tower to kill that Troyan, but I don't yet. Is it worth losing the Spear Guard and the 1/1 and not playing the pack to kill it? I don't think so. It's so close, but I don't think so. I think I need to curve out with the 4-drop Edgewall pack instead of losing the Spear Guard and casting Torch the Tower to kill Troyan. I guess I don't lose the rat also, I get to keep that, but I'll let them play their 6/5. And then we can kill Troyan. Beanstalk Worm is the play, so they don't have the mana for the 6/5. We hit Lord Skitter's Butcher. Just attack with everybody and they can have 0 blocks here. If I want to do the Menace attack. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Put them to 6. That feels pretty good. I'm gonna go for it. And then I'm not super duper confident in this, but I think it's worth it to kill Troyan now, sacking a rat now that we've dealt the damage. So they can't drop a 6-drop. Cut-in is a great draw. We get to kill the Beanstalk Worm and put a Young Hero roll onto one of our creatures next turn. It's going to be huge. Okay, they're going to Gatekeeper back the Monstrosity. Cut-in the only blocker, and that is dead on board. Do they have the Hexproof trick? Oh, they got +1/+1 reach? Well, I can still put them to 1 and then play a Monstrosity, so let's do it. At least it wasn't a hexproof trick. Alright, unless they board wipe, I think they're still dead. And they're green-blue, so I can't imagine they board wipe. Yeah. Still find the kill there. They got stuck on mana, which is especially painful for the blue-green ramp archetype, so pretty lucky one there. Only a couple lands from a defeat. From them stabilizing pretty hard on us, I'm sure. So we are 4-2 now, though, which is an awesome place to be in Premier Drafts. That's pretty much the break-even point. Costs 1,500 gems to play a draft, and we're getting 1,400 back, as well as a few booster packs. So that's where you are decently breaking even gems-wise. Especially if you value those booster packs. But we're not going to be like in the money until one more win. So we'll see if we can't get another, but happy no matter what at this point. I think we are in a great position. I hate me some monocolored hands, and we've had a lot of them today with our 9-8 split, which is awkward. Yeah, they're on the play. We're on the draw and not really doing anything till turn 3 still. And we're monocolored. Take the mulligan. Okay, we've got both our colors. I don't like this 2-mana 1/3. It just doesn't really do anything in our deck, but it lets us curve out with this hand. Or I get to go 2-drop into 3-drop. I honestly don't even know if that's that worth it. I'm just going to get rid of it anyway. Ooh, Hopeless Nightmare turn 1? I mean, this isn't that strong turn 1, but it's giving us something to do with our mana while we have it. I'm still going to play it turn 1 in case I top deck a 2-drop creature. So we're certainly not going to be able to just easily play it turn 3 or 4 or anything with all these to cast. Alright, we didn't draw a 2-mana creature. The Nightmare did great work for us. Got rid of a Curse of the Werefox there. There's a Season of Growth. Uh-oh. They might just card draw engine us into the next realm. Into the Shadow Realm here. Because anytime they're casting a spell that targets one of their creatures, they're drawing a card. So that works with their auras and instants and sorceries that are like combat tricks. I think I want to play Gingerbrute and Butcher here and just get a really wide board. They don't yet have the mana to block with their land, so we'll attack with everybody. Everybody gets in. I'm gonna Butcher for another creature and try to just kill them with Imidane's Recruiter. That's my plan. Please do not board wipe me. There is one rare board wipe in their colors, and that is it. They have enough dirtily spells in their deck that I think it's reasonable to assume they just have a dirtily slower hand and not that they are 100% guaranteed holding on to a board wipe. Yep, perfect. It's just a dirtily hand. So they just get 1/4/4. We buff the whole board, attack with everybody. They're not dead immediately, but they're dead soon enough. Unless they hit some great draws. Just block a 3-power creature and take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Go to 2 life. Oh my god. We'll see how they get out of this one. Curse of the Werefox is a big start. Draw a card off of that and kill my 2/3 or my Gingerbrute. Kill the 2/3. Still dead on board. 3 mana up. They just don't find enough cheap creatures or removal spells. Just making a wide board state and buffing everybody with Imidane's Recruiter finds another victory for us. We are now in the money at 5-2, leaving the event with more gems than it costs to enter and keeping everything we've drafted and 4 additional packs. Awesome spot to be as we head into round number 8. Here we are for game 8. Slower hand again, nothing till turn 3. But we've actually got both our colors this time at least. Not in love with it, but I will be keeping it. Probably Witch into Daredevil into Recruiter, most likely. There's a hopeful, or hopeless Nightmare. I might discard the 5-drop. I don't know when we're going to hit lands here. Yeah. Everything else is castable with the mana I already have in hand. Grand Ball Guest, turn 2. Our deck is actually pretty soft to 2-mana 2/2s with our 3-mana 4/2s and 3-mana 3/2s everywhere. I can play a Daredevil and then put a Young Hero roll onto it next turn, though. Kill their bigger creature and attack with a 5/3. If they play a good 3-mana creature, that's going to be a nice play next turn. Alright, they didn't play a good 3-mana creature. Ooh, but they did attack with Grand Ball Guest, so now I'm pretty chill to just crack back, honestly. I take 3, they take 4. Seems like a fine deal to me. Now we play the Witch. Technically holding up Witch Stalker Frenzy here as well, because if they attack with the rats and one more creature, then this is a 1-mana removal spell. I think that's somewhat likely to be the case. That could be a great play tempo-wise. Never mind. They don't play a bunch of celebration cards and attack with the guest, they just blow up my 4/2. Which is much sadder for me. Could still frenzy it up. I think that is fine, so I can Recruiter. Attack with 2 creatures, frenzy costs me 2 mana. Full control just in case Arena's a doofus. Sometimes it is. Okay. Making sure Arena lets me do that before they can declare blocks. Hit for 7, they're down to 9. Feels pretty good, especially with the cut-in. That can really find some damage here. Even if they just play some creatures as blockers. Well, especially if they just play some creatures as blockers. It's probably our biggest line to victory, is that they just spend like 4 mana for a good creature, and then we top deck a land, and then I just cut in that and throw the food at them. Spending 4 mana on 2 different creatures is still pretty good for me, especially if I draw the Spear Guard here. Yep. Cut in and make the Witch start getting bigger. Spear Guard. 5 damage here. Could send in the Recruiter trade. I think that is fine. Yeah, clear path. We'll get it in. Does give them a very clear choice for their block, though. They're down to 4. They do have a food. Oh, and they hit their Shatter the Oath. It's probably going to get them there. We'll see. We're going to have to draw pretty hot. Our first draw is not that bad. Barrow Naughty usually pretty bad for this deck, but actually not a bad draw here. Blocks the rats freely. Ooh, Fell Horseman's really good at this point in the game, though. Graveyard Recursion and a 3/3 on the ground. It's really going to stop my ground troops. They tap out of the food? If I top deck a land, I just kill them in the sky. Oh, please. I thought for sure they were just going to play the trainee and hold 2 up to eat the food. Top deck land, baby. Come on. Actually, that's still lethal. Not a land, but still lethal. Never mind, we're good. And I'll take the land just because it would have been lethal too. Barrow Naughty MVP! We are now 6-2. A very nice run to start off these Wilds of Eldraine drafts. potentially heading into a 7-win run if we're super lucky. Got the fingers crossed, but no matter what, next game is going to be the final game of Magic for today. The final boss, win or lose. See if we can't get a 7-win run here as we head into the final boss. All right. Another slower hand, nothing till turn 3, but I love me a Vermin, especially Vermin into Edgewall pack seems pretty good. The mana's great, which is more than I can say for a lot of our openers. We have Mulligan down to 6 in a decent amount of these games. But I think we're keeping this one. Playing against green-black, they start with Root Rider Fawn. Already a pretty bad start for me, because that is going to really, really kind of steamroll us and make an even bigger disparity between being on the play and on the draw here. Because they can play, if they played a land this turn, they could play a 4-drop while I still have 2 lands out. But they miss their land. They keep a 2-lander with the Fawn and need to get to that 4 mana. Okay, so let's play the Voracious Vermin. Let's actually play the Sweet Tooth Witch here so it can attack for 3 next turn and I can block the Fawn. But next turn, instead of Edgewall pack, I think I'm playing Vermin and sacking the food to torch the Fawn, especially if they don't play a land, but even then, I think we're definitely killing the Root Rider Fawn if possible. Okay, so they Candy Grapple the Witch, that's fine. That's better for us than had they Candy Grappled the Vermin, so I'm happy about that. Not happy that they did hit the land here now. If they have one of those combat trick creatures that puts a roll on one of their cards, it's going to be so gross. Just instant speed, put the +1/+1 trample roll onto the Fawn, and then my Torch the Tower doesn't kill it anymore. That would be pretty disgusting. I think I still have to go for it, because they're not going to, like, tap out for that in the end step. And they would just hold on to it if they're not needing to cast it on the Fawn. They'd hold on to it to use it on something else. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to need this food, and I do need to try to kill the Fawn. Hope for the best. Stingblade Assassin. Okay. They don't save the Fawn. They do get the mana from it, though. Play a 3/1. Feels good. Aw, what? What? I thought I just dealt with you. Well, I mean, I can attack into that with my Minecart Daredevil, and then I can use my trick and replay the Daredevil. Well, not replay it, but play it after its adventure. No blocks. Fair. So, am I going to Shatter the Oath here to kill the Fawn, or am I going to play the Edgewall pack? Or am I going to still do the Daredevil things? I feel like I just shatter whatever they ramp into off of the Fawn. The problem is they have 4 more spells that we know are all non-lands. So it's not like the Fawn's just giving them 1 bit of value. Like, it's helping cast the rest of the hand. So it could be worth it to just shatter the Fawn. I think I want to try to get a wide board state, though, and get a lot of damage in. So I'm going to play the pack. And I'll shatter next turn on something else. Stuck on mana, though. It is so tempting to kill the Fawn. It's a really close decision there. This does make a lot of other draws in our deck a lot better. Like if we get the Menace to all our creatures or +1/+0 to all our creatures. Stuff like that. So they have 5 mana now. I guess we should have killed the Fawn. 2 1/1s for blockers. So even if I shatter the assassin, they still have... Oh. Okay, we kill Ashiok. I was going to say, even if I shatter the assassin, they still have 2 blockers up. I guess with the menace and the combat trick, we could find a kill on Ashiok, pretty guaranteed. I mean, what are we doing here? How do we kill Ashiok? I probably want to save Shatter the Oath still now, because I can definitely kill Ashiok without it. So we want to send the pack at Ashiok. They'd have to double block that, and then one of the rats would definitely get in. And then we use the Daredevil to buff that rat. So they have to double block the pack, or we just kill Ashiok with it. Which means that this rat gets in, which does a damage to Ashiok, which kills it with the Minecart Daredevil. And then because these have to block the edge wall pack, these can just damage our opponent's face. I think we do that. Oh, they just let Ashiok die? Kind of awkward for me, but I guess I just Daredevil the Vermin now then, and that's fine. Okay. Yeah, Ashiok's dead. They take 1. We keep Vermin. I guess that is the really nice thing about this Ashiok is even if I immediately kill it, it fogged for a turn and gave them 2 creatures to work towards trading off. Okay. Well, Ashiok might not still be around, but Ashiok certainly impacted this game, forcing me into that kind of attack and play this turn. They've got 6 mana now. What do they got? I might just die to this 1 Stingblade Assassin if I don't shatter that soon. Down to 10. Dead in 4 more hits in the sky. They're still at 16 because they just soaked up most of the damage we would have dealt to them this turn. No way. Alright, well. That's big. Big beef. Shatter that, take 3, send in the team, and then try to cut in for lethal next turn if we're lucky. Feels like the play. Dead to like a +3/+3 combat trick. Dead to a second copy of High Fae Negotiator. You have 4 damage on board, they'd have to find 3 more to kill me. How likely am I to 2-shot them if I hold back like a Daredevil? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put them to 11. I mean, I think I just send everybody in, because the list of things that would kill me if I don't hold up a blocker is not that much larger than the list of things that would kill me if I do, because the majority of their damage is in the sky anyway, so anything that can get +4 to 1 creature is going to kill me even if I hold up a blocker, so I think we just send in. Cross the fingers. Cross the fingers. I'm going to hold on to the swamp in case they can make me discard a card. There's that hopeless nightmare that makes me discard a card, lose 2 life. That would put me to 1 and get rid of my cut-in if I played the swamp. Now it would just put me to 1. This is going to be a nail-biter. This is a really close game, however it ends. If I die right now, they were like 1 turn from death. If they die next turn, I was still 1 turn from death to this assassin, most likely. Just any other buff with it. Fell Horseman, return the Negotiator. That's a really big deal. They can't bargain it, though. They don't have something to sack to bargain. But they can cast it and have a 3/5 up on blocks, which I can't kill with cut-in, which is not ideal. pass the turn, hold all their mana up. So if they get another turn, I'm gonna die, period. I guess maybe not. If they have nothing else to make any tokens, what on earth is their last card here? I don't know. I think we have to just cut in an attack with everybody, and it has to be great to not just die to this cut-in. We'll just see what the last card is. It's 1 instant. If it's just like 1 removal spell that kills this vermin, we hit for lethal. And that is the most likely kind of spell. Let's see. Let's find out. I'm stressing. Alright, there's the concession, and we made it all the way to a 7-win run. An absolute nail-biter. Not just because that last game was incredibly close, but also because we went 7-2. So we got as many losses as we could in there, got as many games of Magic as we possibly could. Out of 1 Premier Draft always feels great. 2,200 gems and 6 packs are the reward for this deck. Feels awesome, because I think this deck was a little closer to mediocre than incredible as far as what Red-Black can do, but we had a lot of really good things going for it. We really showed off the power of those cut-ins. These were frequently fantastic removal spells, clearing out our opponent's biggest blocker and adding to the amount of damage we're doing over the course of the game, buffing some of our creatures potentially multiple times with those young hero rolls. So cut-in was incredible. Redcap Gutter Dweller was incredible. The Torch the Tower, obviously, for the cheap removal. A lot of really good stuff going on here, so tons and tons of overperformers. So overall, really, really sweet stuff from this deck. Absolutely loved this run. We will grab our prizes, and that's going to do it. That is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.